Are you ready, Ninja Babe? Ready to face your fears, to ignite your passions and break through your limitations? Are you ready to get out of your comfort zone and go after your dreams with unstoppable force? It's happening here on the Ninjababes podcast, the place where women spill it all about self-confidence, courage, and body image. This is where we show our strength. This is the sisterhood where girls gather to empower themselves and each other. Get ready to get rocked, because this is where you come to be encouraged and be transformed in order to live out your full potential. Be proud of yourself, Ninja Babe. Now let's get after it. Welcome to the Ninjababes podcast. We are back again, and today I am here with Tegan Roobol. This ninja has got an action-packed story for all of you and something amazing that I'm so excited for her to share more about. So Tegan last year came in third for women for the National Ninja League World Championships. She also this year came in first for pro women in the Athlete Warrior Games. She is active at her gym, and she has come up with her own curriculum and programming for Adaptive Ninja. And I am so stoked for her to share with you today about what that is and hopefully answer all of your questions and get you just as excited about it as I am. So Tegan, welcome. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. I'm good.
Good.
So can you just give us a little bit more of your background of who are you? How did you get involved with Ninja? And have we seen you before on the show? Just sort of like give us a little bit more background.
All right. Yeah, I'm 34 years old. I have two young boys. Jensen's 5 and TJ is 2. We live in Howell, Michigan. We pretty much love doing anything and everything outside. I got into Ninja about 2.5 years ago. It was when TJ was about 3 months old. I started doing Ninja. I'd always seen it on the TV show and thought it looked really exciting, but didn't have anywhere to train. And when I was pregnant with TJ, a gym opened up in the area. And so I was really excited when I was getting back into things and getting back into shape to try out the gym. That was 2.5 years ago. And I've been at it ever since, doing lots of local competitions, traveled to a couple of out-of-state competitions, mainly just finals for NNL and for UNAA. I have not been on the TV show yet. This is the first year that I applied. So I heard that they've started doing calls. So I've got my fingers crossed that I'll be getting a phone call soon.
Yeah, how exciting. Yeah, they started calls, I think, just a couple of days ago now. And they always start on the West Coast. I don't know if you already knew that. So it's like weird because it feels like this wave that moves across the country. And you're like, when am I going to get called? So
nice. Yeah. I didn't know they started West Coast. So yeah, I got a little breathing time.
Definitely,
before I count it out.
Definitely. Yeah, filming always starts in LA, and so they kind of do that regions calls first. Although this year, who knows, because having LA and then DC twice and then St. Louis twice, like the regions are not exactly, I mean, who knows like how they'll actually show it on the show when you're watching as like an audience viewer. But right. For all of us, we realize that the regions are a little bit different this year, so we'll see. But that's exciting, and I'm so glad. I feel like everyone who starts Ninja, it's like you get interested, you start it, and then for so many of us, it's like suddenly the rest is history and your whole life revolves around Ninja now.
Yep, that's kind of where mine's headed.
Yeah. So do you have a day job besides your involvement with Ninja? What do you do outside of the gym?
So I'm a physical therapist in the school systems. I work for Livingston Educational Service Agency. So most of my time is spent in a center-based program where I'm working with children who have severe multiple impairments, so cognitive impairments, physical impairments. And then I also work out in the districts, so I have more of your gen ed population where the kids just have either minor developmental delays or they might have cerebral palsy but are still able to function in a gen ed setting. So I have a wide range of abilities from ages 3 to 26. So it keeps me busy, and no 2 days are ever the same.
Yeah, definitely. I can imagine, especially with a job like that, where like every kid has their unique challenges and like unique goals and things that they're working towards. So it's like definitely an exciting job. And a creative job. I feel like you get to think of new ways to help people and match what they're looking to do. So I love creative type jobs like that.
For sure.
And so then has it been your work in physical therapy that has led you to want to create Adaptive Ninja? How did that even start? And tell us, what is Adaptive Ninja?
Yeah, pretty much. So, the Adaptive Ninja has really combined my desire to do ninja and also my background in physical therapy. It started, I was training at Iron Grip Ninja and saw the sister of one of my students. And I thought, wouldn't it be so cool to see Lauren at the gym too? Like, even if she was just taking in the lights and taking in the sounds of all the kids running around the gym, like, that's got to be better than sitting at home and watching TV every day after school. So, without really knowing what it would look like, I approached the family saying, hey, what do you think about trying to do some Ninja Warrior activities with Lauren? What do you think about that? They were receptive to it and like, let's give it a go. Let's see what happens. And so I partnered with TriCounty Ninja out of Fenton, Michigan. The owners there, Ed and Megan, have been super excited about the program and really helpful in developing the program. And so I just started bringing in one student at a time and working with them in the gym. And it's pretty much just adapting activities however is needed to make it fun for the ninja. So right now we have two different programs. One class we're calling Ninjadaptive, and that's for kids that have more significant physical and or cognitive impairments. So during those sessions, every ninja has a one-on-one coach, and we're doing more adapted things using more specialized equipment. We have platform swings where the kid can sit on the swing and hold on to rings and pull themselves back and forth so that they can get the sensation of swinging from rings without actually having to hold their body weight up from a row of rings, which is never going to happen. Sometimes we'll put like a cocoon swing on a pipe slider so then they can be in the swing but zip down the pipe slider. We'll have them on the trampoline. If they can stand with assistance, then we'll bounce with them standing. If they can sit, we'll bounce with them in sitting. If they can't sit, then we'll put them in a laying position and help them bounce however it is that works for them. So that's one group. Our other group is, we call them the Ninja Rock Stars, and they're our higher functioning group. So it's a lot of like the kids that I work with out in the districts that have developmental delays or a more minor cognitive impairment, or maybe they have autism. And so they work in a small group setting. We typically have maybe 4 to 6 kids, and we'll have anywhere from 2 to 4 coaches at a time. And what we do with them is we typically have like 4 or 5 stations set up of specific obstacles, and we'll go through as a class and work on each obstacle. And then at the end, we'll put it all together in an obstacle course so that they go through all the different obstacles that we set up. And then they'll usually finish with the warped wall and hitting the buzzer. And they all think it's the coolest thing ever to be going up a warped wall and hitting the buzzer. So those are the 2 classes that we're offering, and we'll see where it takes us from here.
That's so incredible to hear. And it's just like, it gives me goosebumps. Like, it's so exciting to hear just all of the ways that you're able to work with kids who maybe in other areas of their life have just been overlooked. Like, maybe they're just written off as, oh, you're not able to do this, like, end of story. But it's so encouraging just to know that you've been able to find ways to really like take a step back and like, look at the whole situation. Okay, like this kid can't do X, Y, and Z, but we're going to figure out how to allow them to still participate and still enjoy this experience and still learn and grow. And I just think that's like incredible. And I love what you guys are doing. Have you found that, the kids are really excited to get involved and like right away are like fearless and willing to try it? Or do you even notice them having to be challenged to like come out of their own comfort zone of what might have been their limitations all along? Like now they're finally getting a chance to break through those. Like, how do they respond?
Yeah, all of the kids are really excited. They have a smile on their face from the start to the end. Some of our kids weren't so certain about it at first. We've got one little girl who just recently started, and she has autism, and she's really young, and she's still feeling it out. And some days she enjoys it, and other days she's not happy about it, and she lets us know with some high pitched screaming that she's not happy. But other days it's great, and she's having fun. Pretty much all the kids look forward to it I have one little girl at school. She sees me in the halls and she's like, "Is it Ninja Day? Is it Ninja Night?" She's like, "I'm a Ninja Warrior now." And so she's just so excited, and that's what the attitude is for most of the kids. And they are growing. They had a lot of fear. They still have fear when you're trying something new. We had a tilting slack line the other day, and I've got some pictures of these kids with horrified looks on their faces. But then they get down and they're excited and they did it and they can't wait to try it again because you can just see the pride like radiating from them that they conquered this really scary task and they're excited to take on the next thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel like that's that's anyone though. I mean, unless you're like somebody who is completely thrill seeking and like has no fear that can hold them back, like I feel like everybody probably if you had a photographer like stalking you, everyone would have like a horrified face look at one point or another. But
Absolutely,
yeah,
yep.
I know I did for sure. But that's awesome to
Yep.
be able to like help them, like guide them and like really pull them out of their comfort zone. How do you manage the classes like that? Do students have one-on-one like volunteers or other coaches working with them?
The Ninja Adaptive class, we have one-on-one coaches. So there's me and then my friend who's a physical therapist. We have a couple staff members from TriCounty Ninja that have been training with us, so they'll work one-on-one with some kids. Then we've got some other volunteers from various places, some where I work, some that have just called us and said, "Hey, do you need extra hands? I'd love to get involved." So we do have a lot of adults, and the more adults helping we have, the more ninjas we can work with at one time. The Rockstar group, we don't need as many adults as kids, so we're able to take a little bit bigger groups of kids at one time for them.
What do you feel like has been like one of the most creative ways that you've adapted an obstacle or a skill to work with a kid who had some sort of physical limitations?
That's a tough question. The salmon ladder, I feel like, is a really iconic Ninja Warrior obstacle. And it's like, how can we get our kids to do the salmon ladder? Like, that's just beyond the scope of anything they're ever going to do. But my husband and I built a tabletop salmon ladder. So we can either set it on a surface or we'll clamp it to a little bit taller vertical surface. And we'll have our kids sitting or standing in front of it, depending on what their skills are. And we'll go up and down the salmon ladder without them having to be suspended, without hanging, and without needing physical strength to move themselves up and down the salmon ladder. And then we've done a lot of things with auditory stuff and with tactile things because we have ninjas with visual impairments. So, like if we're working on a pegboard or if we're doing the salmon ladder, we'll have bells attached so that we get that feedback of when you're moving the pegs or moving the salmon ladder bar. You can not only feel that it's moving, but you can also hear that it's moving.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and it's something that I think a lot of us don't always think about. But I have friends who work in occupational therapy and physical therapy, and so they talk a lot about that sensory input and like different ways that they've like approached that with students they work with. So that makes a lot of sense in the context. I was also wondering, this is curriculum that you've completely come up with on your own, or have you, worked with other physical therapists, or like how have you come up with creating this?
Yeah, this is all just stuff that I've come up with on the fly, and it's pretty much in all my free time, especially whenever I'm driving. I'm just like running ideas through my head. What can I do? What else is new? What would be fun? How could I adapt this? And it's just a constant stream of thoughts going through my head. But so the entire curriculum has just been things that I've come up with. And sometimes I try something and it works really well. And we, have that in our list, our repertoire of things we're going to do. And other times I try stuff, it's a complete flop. And it's like, well, back to the drawing board. How are we going to make something like that work? And so it's all just trial and error. I looked online for other programs similar to this and just haven't come across anything even remotely close. I know there are some places that will work with kids that have disabilities, but most of them are higher functioning. You see kids that are walking and talking and following directions, and that's really not necessarily the clientele that we're working with. So it's all just making stuff up as we go.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I feel like in a lot of ways that's the best way though. You're creating something that's so organic and really matches the needs of your population. And so I'm sure it's very challenging and like can be frustrating at times if you try to do something and it really doesn't work, but you're able to really fine tune and figure out what is exactly the best programming to fit your exact population. So I think that's neat because sometimes when you try to adapt something from someone else's curriculum or someone else's like stream of consciousness, like what worked for their client or whatever it may be, then you try to adapt it to yours and you're running into new problems that like they didn't have because they didn't have that type of a challenge. So it's really neat to be able to just organically figure it out on your own. Have you noticed ways that students have really grown, whether it's in their strength or even just, you know, their confidence or anything else that you've like observed in your time working with them?
I definitely think I've seen an increase in confidence across the board, especially with our Rockstar Ninjas. I've also seen a lot of social gains. Like some of these kids, a lot of these kids don't have friends. We have a girl with autism that doesn't have a lot of friends. It's really difficult for her to make new friends. And her and this one other ninja in the class have just become the best of buddies, and they're getting together and having play dates outside of the ninja gym now, and it's just really cool to see the social bonds forming. So I'd say the confidence and then the social friendships that are being created are two of the biggest gains that I've noticed.
Yeah, that's so encouraging. The National Ninja League World Championships will be here before you know it. Are you ready? Do you feel like you're sleeping enough, training how you want to, getting enough nutrition and eating well? All these things we know are so important when you're getting ready for competition. Well, if you feel like you're lacking in any of those areas, our sponsors can help you out. Propello Life makes whey, vegan proteins. They make amino acids, electrolytes, everything that you need to fuel your workout and to feel great. So if you feel like your training is gotten to that place where you're always training in the evenings and you don't feel pumped up and ready, they've got some all-natural energy and focus blends that can give you that pre-workout punch that you need without taking in weird chemicals and additives that you feel sketchy about. They've also got great amino acids and electrolyte blends that I drink every day, whether I'm working out or not that day, because I know that I need my body to be refueled and recovered and have the balance that it needs in order to then take on a workout the next day strong. So whether you're in the midst of your workout or you're recovering after it, Propello Life has got everything you need to work out well and to fuel your training. So at propellolife.com, you can use code Ninjababes, all caps, for 10% off your order, and you'll be supporting the Ninjababes podcast. Our second sponsor, Sleepovation, has been a huge supporter of ninjas for over a year now, and everyone at Sleepovation wants to know that you're sleeping the best that you can be. So if you need a new mattress or a new pillow, check it out on sleepovation.com. Their unique technology is going to allow you to sleep better and recover more optimally, and we all know as athletes, we need that. We need to know that we've slept the best that we can and the next day we're ready to crush it. When you make a purchase from Sleepovation, you will not only be getting a life-changing bed, but you will also be supporting the Ninjababes podcast and all of the workshops and events that we put on. So head on over to sleepovation.com and use code Ninjababes, all caps, for 28% off your total purchase. And don't forget, all of the links of websites that we're talking about today can all be found in the show notes of this episode. So whether you're looking for links to the National Ninja League's homepage, Sleepovation, Propello Life, or Neighborhood Ninjas, check it all out in the show notes at the bottom of this page. Tegan, you had mentioned to me about the boy in the warp wall. Could you share that story as well?
So we have one middle school student who's got a cognitive impairment. And the first time he ever did the warped wall, he was terrified, and it took a good 4 people to help him get to the top of that warped wall. And recently, so he's been coming since this past summer, recently he's been able to do the warped wall completely by himself. We're there spotting him, but he does all of the work. And the smile on his face is just amazing. And he's so excited. It's just really, really cool to see.
Oh, that's awesome. That's just like, it must so make everything you're doing feel so worth it to just see these kids' reactions and like see them grow.
Absolutely.
Is this something that you feel like you could see being duplicated or spreading to other gyms?
For sure, that's kind of the long-term goal or dream that I have. I don't know how to make it happen yet, but I picture having some sort of training developed and possibly some sort of certification so that I could go to other gyms and say, hey, here's this program we're doing, train them in this sort of clientele and how you do transfers and what sort of things you need to be aware of. You need to, know about spinal rods and G tubes, and do they have seizures, those sorts of things. And then there's activities. What sort of equipment do you need, and how do you adapt these activities? So I would love to have manuals written and develop a comprehensive training, and then go to other facilities so that they can also do the adaptive ninja programming, because right now it's not beyond our geographical area. We've had some people approach us saying, hey, we want to bring this into our gym, or can we do it in other locations? And it's like, yes, absolutely. I just don't have the means right now of providing the training or providing staff like to come out and do the program. So it's still a work in progress, but that is the goal, is to spread it as widespread as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Has such a network of people and even resources and opportunities. So I bet between all of us, we could be able to like contribute and make that sort of development happen. Do you have any way for people who might be interested or who might have experience working with that type of student, if someone wanted to reach out to you to contribute or to work together or even come to your gym to volunteer, how can people best reach you?
So you can find us on Facebook at Overcoming Obstacles, Adaptive Ninja and Climbing. We are also on Instagram at Adaptive Ninja Climbing. And then our email address is info@adaptiveninjaclimbing.org. So any of those platforms are ways to get a hold of us.
Awesome. And I'll definitely be listing all of those contacts and everything in the show notes of this episode. What else is going on at your gym? Do you have any events or anything with Adaptive Ninja coming up?
We actually have some really exciting news. Later this month, February 15th and 16th, Fenton, the TriCounty Ninja, is holding State Games of Michigan, which is also a UNAA area qualifier. And State Games of Michigan has granted us permission to add an adaptive category. So for the first time ever, we're going to have an adaptive ninja category as part of the competition. So our rock stars will go on Saturday, and they will use the same course as the 9-year-old group. We'll just modify it as we see fit to make it more appropriate for them, and then give them the amount of assistance that they need in order to be successful with it. And then on Sunday, our Ninja Adaptive group will be going. And so that's a course that'll be completely designed by me. And it's taking quite a lot of creativity trying to figure out how to travel around the gym with a non-mobile population. So I'm excited to see how it goes. All the ninjas are really excited. I mean, they've been watching their siblings compete and get medals and participate in competitions, their whole lives. And this is a first for them, where they get to compete and they'll get a medal. And it's just a really, really cool experience for them to get to have.
Yeah, that's really exciting. And I can't wait to hear all about it and see pictures and just like find out about the whole experience, because I think this is like never before been done in the ninja world. So it's really groundbreaking. It's like so exciting. So, Tegan, I'm wondering what sort of advice do you have for other ninjas out there?
I'd say the biggest thing for me is to have fun. Like, it's hard to stay motivated to do something if it's not fun. I know for me, as soon as I start setting really high expectations and putting all sorts of pressure on myself, it becomes more of a chore rather than a fun, enjoyable activity. So I think keeping it fun is really important. And then also, not to impose limitations on yourself. So I think about my ninjas who they've been told their whole life that they can't do this or they can't do that. And they're certainly not going to be a ninja warrior, but they're doing it now, and they're making gains and they're having fun. So it's don't be your own worst enemy and shut yourself down before you've even tried something. If you want something, then you need to make it happen.
Definitely. I completely agree. And I think that's such sound advice. I think all of us have done that before where we do become our own worst enemy, or we just think someone, someone told you once that you couldn't do whatever it is. And so you just kind of always have that phrase going on in the back of your head, like, oh, I'm not able to do this or that. And so, when we can get that out of our heads and realize that the only limitations we live by are the ones that we impose upon ourselves. And when we really realize that and then realize we have the ability to change that, it completely like revolutionizes your world.
Definitely. That sums it up perfectly.
Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing everything that you've shared about Adaptive Ninja. It's really incredible to hear everything that's been going on there at TriCounty Ninja, and we're excited to see how this progresses and what's going on. So definitely I'll have to keep sharing on the Ninjababes page, and we'll point everybody over to your page as well to be able to see what's happening. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's been really nice. Be strong, be you, be a ninja babe.